You're alive today is because your parents, grandparents, and ancestors prepared for and overcame hell on earth, including everything from plagues to natural disasters like drought or famine, economic crises, chaos, and war, events which are still a threat. Only now, we're far more vulnerable since many of us lack the survival skills that our forefathers once took for granted, skills that will soon fade from memory, which is why, in just a moment, I'll reveal the long-lost secrets our ancestors used to thrive against any danger so that you can enjoy a stockpile of food which lasts for months or years, unspoiled, unlimited safe-to-drink water, enhanced home defense, greater financial security, and medical knowledge that will help to keep you healthy when doctors, 911, and hospitals aren't available. In short, the ideal safety net for when there's no electricity. Stores are ransacked, and the world turns dog-eat-dog. Just as I discovered these secrets over 20 years ago, when a disturbing act of terrorism turned my life upside down, that took me from total dependence and a headless chicken panic and a crisis mindset, trapped in the smog of city life, to the lush green hills of Utah on my own self-reliant homestead, happy in my ability to provide the must-haves of life for myself and my family, even in the event of a major collapse. Secrets that could also save you thousands of dollars on your bills. I'll also reveal the 3 worst traps even self-reliance experts fall into, which could cost you everything in a catastrophe, even if you feel confident right now. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Suzanne Sherman, and I'm the host of the Red Hot Chili Prepper and the Wasatch Report podcasts, shows for which followers tune in every week to discover more about self-reliance and how to survive a crisis. I share how to use traditional skills inspired by our ancestors to provide enough tasty food, fresh, clean water, and medical know-how to keep my family safe and comfortable, even in a disaster. But my life wasn't always like this. In fact, I used to be a criminal defense attorney, deep in California's urban sprawl. I'd buy what I needed for any given day or week and really didn't plan on backups for supplies. I'd take my sons to the doctor for issues I'm capable of solving today. And I never expected life to change, simply assuming the government would handle it if something went wrong, or that my job would always be there. Until suddenly, my life was turned upside down when one day the electricity fizzled out in an act of terrorism that could soon bring our country to its knees, after a mysterious individual slipped into an underground vault beside a busy freeway, cut through local telephone cables to stop law enforcement from responding, and then blasted over 100 rounds of ammunition for over 30 minutes into a nearby electrical substation where they surgically destroyed 17 transformers and then vanished just a minute before police arrived, which is a big deal because this substation also formed part of America's Achilles heel as one of only 9 substations that would need to fail to trigger a nationwide blackout, shutting off your lights and heating, killing our water supply, and causing all refrigerated food to expire in only a few short hours. A situation that could also last for months or even years, as these transformers can take over 2 years to replace. And in the chaotic aftermath of a crisis, when stores are empty, communication is paralyzed, hospitals are overwhelmed, the economy free falls, and it's chaos on the streets, things will certainly get a lot worse. What's more, a direct assault may not be needed, since a hurricane, earthquake, solar flare, or wildfire could be just as harmful, if not more, thanks to the dire state of our electrical grid, which was given a lousy D+ rating for safety by the American Society of Civil Engineers, with large parts of it being built just before World War I. A danger which NASA, NATO, the NSA, FBI, the DoD, and the Department of Homeland Security have all flagged as a major threat that politicians have so far ignored. Which got me thinking, because whether it's a blackout, a new pandemic, another Great Depression, or a food shortage that gets you, There are so many things to worry about and so many ways to stretch yourself thin that trying to protect yourself and those you love from harm can often feel like a losing battle. Even worse, everywhere I looked for help was a dead end, since many of the so-called experts were, in reality, tactical gadget addicts who valued overpriced gear over knowledge, gear that might not work in a crisis. Fortunately, history had the answer. After all, our ancestors had already overcome far worse, or you or I wouldn't be here, so I figured the best way to prepare for a crisis was to follow their time-tested ways. The problem was, where to start? Particularly as I was living in the suburbs with a hectic full-time job and a family to support, and not some log cabin in the woods. Neither could I convince my family to suddenly up sticks and live off the grid. So I started small. I learned how to preserve food, either by pickling, fermenting, curing, smoking, larding, salting, or canning it, ready for hard times without spoilage. How to treat common injuries, like cuts or burns, without infection, by using plants, herbs, and weeds which grew all around me, transforming them into poultices and natural antiseptics. I uncovered how to filter and clean water using basic household items that would transform even putrid bog juice into crystal-clear liquid even a baby could safely drink. I learned how to make household products from scratch, such as soap or toothpaste, which have saved millions of lives throughout history, and more, all of which, over time, also slashed my monthly bills by thousands of dollars. Soon I felt confident enough to move to my own homestead. I bought land, and now I regularly hunt for food like a frontiersman, turning what I harvest into valued goods. I grow fruits, vegetables, and herbs, often using companion planting methods just like the Native Americans did. I raise chickens, forage for natural remedies, and more. However, on my journey, I also missed many shortcuts and paid far more on items than I had to. I also had to update a lot of the knowledge I discovered to cover the modern gaps in understanding which our ancestors had justifiably missed, like the placebo effect, or the best modern-day tools to use that will save you time even without electricity, all of which motivated me to share what I knew so that others wouldn't make the same mistakes. And the response was overwhelming. But the one thing I heard time and again was that these lessons had to be written down. That way, they'd be easier to follow and far more secure in a power outage as opposed to an electronic copy, which might be impossible to access. So I teamed up with the folks at Survivopedia.com, one of America's leading survival preparedness websites, to record what I learned and make it easier for others to find. Together, we proofread every word. To clear it of jargon, we created straightforward illustrations and highly detailed diagrams that are easy to follow. After which, we tested the skills by asking people unfamiliar with self-reliance to see how they helped them. That way, we could see what someone who lacked our inside knowledge would do and improve our message accordingly. We even posted the trickier parts online to gather feedback and guarantee that even the meanest internet trolls gave it a big thumbs up, which they did. And after a year of hard work, we finally had it. Introducing the Lost Frontier Handbook. Inside, you'll discover how to build a food stockpile that lasts for years unspoiled, without electricity, chemical preservatives, or expensive survival rations that can clog up your insides if eaten for too long, with step-by-step instructions on how to pickle, freeze-dry, smoke, ferment, cure, or salt your food. The worst food preservation mistakes to avoid that could make you sick. The top 22 foods to stockpile for long-term food storage, such as beans, grains, powdered milk, pasta, and big surprises too, like popcorn, soy sauce, or vanilla extract, with a host of little-known and surprising survival benefits, such as a disinfectant, shampoo or deodorant, and cleaning agent, even on greasy metal, a remedy for burns, and more. Plus, how to